of a sudden, I found myself in love with the world, so there was only one thing that I could do, was ding-a-ding-dang, my dang-along-ling-long.
Monday. Welcome back.
So, what was that last topic you sent me?
That last topic, that was kind of a rough one.
Hmm.
Your old hometown stomping grounds, Houston, Texas. Man accused of burning woman's body says she died during sex.
Sex with him?
Oral sex.
Wait. Back up. She died.
During oral sex.
So he says?
It was that good.
Oh.
So he says. Is this what? So he's been charged with this?
He is charged with murder at this point, and probably about 3 other felonies. I imagine lighting a body on fire afterwards and all that good stuff, tampering with evidence. Probably a couple other. They're probably throwing a book at him.
So what does it say that he did?
Well, they don't know. And they're trying to figure it out. But he claims it was because of oral sex that she died.
She just what? What's that
They
expression?
were having fun.
And then she suddenly was on fire.
Well, that was after she died. So that's probably like mutilating
I
a corpse
see.
or something like that,
I
or
was trying
tampering with
I
evidence.
was trying to figure out
No, but
what order this happened.
I have a feeling there may have been some oxygen deprivation involved in that. But it was kind of interesting because I didn't really read the whole article. I read parts of it. You know, I kind of do that.
The first thing that came into my head was, what is that phenomena called when you
Spontaneous combustion.
spontaneous
Yeah.
combustion?
That's the really hot sex. Yeah.
It was
That would
that
just
good.
that was that good. Spontaneous combustion.
Probably not.
Yeah. Well, that's just not a nice thing to do, is it?
No. But what was interesting was, you learn new things and usually I'll look at the comments from the local people,
And he was a normal guy. You seem like your everyday guy. Everybody who does weird stuff is always a great neighbor. They were quiet.
They appeared that they may have been in some other things. She may have been possibly meth addict or prostitute. If you look at her picture, it's pretty rough, right? I think she was in her 30s or something like that. She was about 70.
Oh my God.
But anyway, yeah, she was in rough shape. And
Not to rough you up pretty good.
so I was looking at the comments, and somebody said, "Oh, it probably did the Harlem Struggle."
Oh,
And I was like, well, learn new things, right? Google it.
yeah.
So I did.
Yeah.
And I read it.
What is it?
I was significantly disappointed in mankind at that point.
What is the Harlem Struggle?
The Harlem Struggle. I don't know if I should even repeat this, but this is, if you got kids in the room, get them out.
Yeah.
If you have a sensitive disposition, turn this
don't
off.
listen.
Stop right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Harlem Struggle, according to Urban Dictionary, apparently is when people are doing that thing, female on the male,
Right.
and the male will wrap his legs around the female and grab her and pull her in till, she struggles.
Until she's choked out.
Yeah. So usually results in a lot of bad things happening, but not usually death.
It's like mixed martial arts sex.
Yeah, with less guys, Sweaty men.
Well, that's not nice. Wonder where that term came from. Harlem Struggle.
Well, I've learned different things over the years, and Google is an amazing device, isn't it? As far as being able to just type it in and it'll tell you. Somebody out there has probably defined it. But there was one in particular, and I will not recommend this to anybody to do, because I learned this from another radio show, was blue waffle. Don't look up blue waffle.
Don't
do it.
And now everybody will.
Oh gosh.
What, you know what that is?
Yeah.
I haven't even done
That was.
it. So I haven't even I haven't
That was
Googled
the
it.
thing to don't Google.
Don't
this.
Google it, and
yeah,
it wants
and then
to see.
everybody Googles it, of course. But
So
yeah.
you Googled it.
No, I haven't.
But you know what it
I
is.
know what it is.
It's horrific.
I'm going to stay away from it. Audience, if you feel like looking up Google, blue waffle.
Or Harlem Struggle.
See, I'm such an innocent guy. I just immediately think waffles with blueberries in it. But
Oh, no.
yeah. Given the guidance of the topic, I was imagining that was probably not it.
Yeah, it was a rough one. So this guy's up for a lot of trouble.
Yeah, that's a.
We're going to probably
What,
lose.
what state is it?
Texas, Houston.
Let's life. That's the penalty right there.
Oh, is it?
No, I'm not saying it's
yeah, that's
automatic, but they're big on the death penalty.
Oh,
I was
wait
actually
a minute.
watching this show.
Why did I think this was Houston? No. Oh, Pasadena, Texas. Sorry.
Either way,
Sorry.
I don't know if it's in Texas
Yeah.
state law. So we're watching this show called Afflicted on
Netflix.
Netflix.
Yeah, it's a Netflix original.
Oh no! I'm sorry. I'm thinking of the other one. I'm thinking I Am a Killer
Yes.
on Netflix. And they pretty much everybody from that show. It's about people who are on death row, and pretty much, I think all of them so far have been from Texas. About six episodes. Well, maybe in part because they allowed the media to do the show there, but that's I believe that's the highest concentration of people who are under the death penalty right now.
Really? Okay. Well, I guess it kind of makes
And
sense.
they actually go through with it. A lot of
yeah.
states have it, but don't go through with it. And most of these people have been on death row for, 20, 30 years.
Appeal.
Well, appeal. I mean, by the time they get around to it, they just die naturally. But most of them are, from what I recall, most of them were sort of, accepted that was their fate, except for one guy who said, I didn't do it. And they're gonna kill an innocent man. Aside of that, everybody else is like, yeah, that's what I got for doing what I did. So this guy will probably get the same.
Yeah, he's in denial right now.
It'll take 20, 30 years to finally hit the chair or whatever. The chair, they don't do that anymore.
Well, I was thinking they probably do injection.
Well, I think everybody does now.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken, it's still legal to do hangings and firing squads in certain states, but they don't actually employ it.
Right. I think Utah actually allows the firing squad, and there was a guy that died. I remember I want to say, was it Gary Gilmore? Gary Gilmore. He was like a mass killer, if I remember correctly, but I think he asked for the firing squad and got it.
What did they?
Yeah, there was one. It was Utah. Utah is like, yeah, we got a wide range of things. Whatever you sign up for, we'll do it for you.
Good for Utah.
Hey,
No. Every state's different. Well, Texas is pretty quick to put you to the death penalty. If you they have more of an eye for an eye type of view on things. You kill somebody, we're going to kill you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it makes you wonder, does it actually deter? I mean, that's always the big question. Does it deter crime or does it lower crime?
I statistically, I don't know for sure, but I imagine it does not deter crime.
Because people aren't thinking when those kind of things
Usually,
go down, right?
when those things go down, they're not within their right mind. I'm not saying they're considered insane, whatever that term might mean to lawyers.
Right.
But no, they're generally not in the right mind at all. I don't think they're thinking, well, they have the death penalty here, so I'm not going to do it.
Right. So there was, moving on to something else here. We had Chipotle last week had another food poisoning outbreak in Ohio.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, between July 26th and July 30th.
I got a couple of years down here, so we could just go off of this. So I guess that was just because they left food out. I mean, I think the original one had to do with a bad sourcing. The original Chipotle outbreak had to do with bad sourcing of
Really?
either guacamole or lettuce or something to that effect.
Okay.
I think. this one had to do with just improper care of food.
Food handling, yeah.
Food handling with poultry and meats and so on and so forth. So I think 100 and some odd people reported that they had gastro issues over
647.
This one-
647.
Oh, I'm sorry.
647
people. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's various numbers being thrown around. And
High
the first I saw was
issues.
300, and the
Yeah.
latest I saw was 700. So
Okay, so it's
yours
around
is
there.
probably close. That sounds about right.
So basically, they had 647 people just sitting on the pot for about a week. You know, have you ever been food poisoned? I got food poisoned once
Oh, I have.
at a Denny's.
It put me
Okay,
in the
fine.
hospital.
Don't sponsor the show. I get it, but you did it, right? So I go out to this. I was in San Jose, California, doing an acquisition for 2 big companies. I was staying at I don't know why. I was staying at like a dump, Motel 6 or something. And
Red Roof.
yeah, there's a Denny's next door. I went over and got an omelet. And this is probably about probably about 2000. And yeah, I was starving, but I could sense that I got like that Denver omelet. It's got like everything in it.
Oh, yeah.
I could sense like something wasn't right when I was eating it. Like something didn't taste right. Like I could smell the smell and all that.
Just
kind of
didn't
stuff.
work for you.
Didn't work for me, but I ate it anyway because I'm a guy.
Because
You're
it's
starving.
Denny's.
Because what?
Because it's
I
Denny's.
don't
and
want to
it's-
go out again or something like that. I think at the time where that show Who Wants to Be a Millionaire was on, like I wanted to see it anyway. I'm eating it, and I'm fine. That was in the evening. Next day I'm at work. I'm in the middle of a meeting. My stomach starts to kind of turn. It's not making noises yet. It's just turning. Yeah. You see, I have a theory. The higher the pitch noise, the worse.
Oh, okay.
All right. Not the lower pitches, like the. Yeah, your stomach's just angry, and it's gonna resolve itself, right? But do it again. Yeah. If you get those, and
Like a stormtrooper. Yeah.
you're in trouble. You're in trouble.
It's Joe Biden shooting a gun.
Yeah. Yeah. So I got that going on. I'm like in the middle of a meeting and I had to excuse myself. And oh my God, I sat in that hotel room for like 2 days straight.
Oh, my God.
That was horrible.
You need a seatbelt on that one?
Yeah, it was bad. Blew myself right off. Not good. So Chipotle, I don't know. It's an anomaly. It can happen anywhere.
It can.
All right, so you can go to wherever, and that's going to happen. So I'm not going to hold this one against them. I'll still go there. The burritos are enormous.
That's what I hear. I hear they're good. As
Very-
long as you
very-
don't get a bad one.
So I should get bad one. But anybody's susceptible to that. Qdoba does the same exact thing. It's all food handling and how strict your policies are, and following through with them. But I mean, at the end of the day, you got a lot of young kids working in there, and they're just not going to follow. You have to have good. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You have to have a good manager. I've been to Subway recently, and they got the coughing glass or whatever you want to call it. Because people would reach over and like point at the food and like stick their hands in there. So now they got this piece of glass that kind of curves this direction.
It's got razor wire on the top.
Razor. Well, I don't want that tomato. I want that tomato. They stick their hands in it, whatever. So, but it works both ways. So I'm watching the people that are making it, and they're nasty. I'm like, you need a cough glass on your side. Whatever. Yeah, you can't put plastic gloves on, touch your face, and then go back in and get the tomato. It doesn't work that way.
The one that slayed me was the plastic gloves, makes the sandwich, cashes them out, then goes back and makes another sandwich.
The idea is to put fresh gloves on each time.
The plastic gloves are not there to protect your hands. They're there to protect the food, right?
My
So-
cuticles just get wrecked, you know?
Oh, gross.
Exactly. Well, let's go back a little bit. I got some of yours here.
Well, they got the marketing team on that, so now they're giving away free burritos
Yeah,
to students.
Yeah, more. That's all you need. You
They're
know what they're
all
going
over
to do?
that.
Yeah, they're going to do it too. They're going to do it too because they're bringing all new fresh food and they'll make darn sure that they don't have another outbreak at that particular location. Argento.
Who? What?
Give you the background. Asia Argento today. She is and I'm going to stay out of the politics of this, and I'm going to caution ourselves against, touching this toxic issue.
Won't do it.
It's Me Too environment.
I'll be careful.
Okay, so Asia Argento is an Italian actress, from my understanding, and it was interesting to see the connections.
Asia Argento.
She was basically the number 2 for the Me Too environment. The number one, the lead is what's her face, Marilyn Manson's old girlfriend,
Rose McGowan.
Rose McGowan.
Yes.
So she's essentially number 2.
All right.
There's documentation that was found today from back in 2013 where she reportedly, I'm being very careful with this,
Mm-hmm.
she reportedly got a 17-year-old young man drunk
All right.
and had and engaged with him in an inappropriate capacity.
Poor guy.
So this is coming out 5 years later. Yeah, I gotta reserve my personal opinions on this one. But so
Is she Anthony Bourdain's girlfriend? Is that who that was?
yeah.
Ah,
So
see?
there was the connection. So she was Anthony Bourdain's girlfriend. 5 years ago, she was out in L.A. Took the kid to a Hyatt I don't want to say Hyatt if it's not somewhere, a hotel somewhere, and they engaged. Now he had just turned 17 apparently. So anyway, she steps down today as the number 2 and says Rose will take over. And Rose, the appearance was she kind of distanced herself a little bit from her, saying I've only known her for 10 months. And the question was, is this hurting the Me Too environment? I don't want to answer the question
No.
nor talk about it. I'm just suggesting there's obviously a little bit of slight hypocrisy in that one,
This
for her in particular.
opens up all kinds of weirdness because the Anthony Bourdain thing seemed weird. Right?
Let me finish off one thing.
Absolutely.
She paid him off. She paid the kid off.
Right,
$380,000
And she paid
for
him.
to be quiet.
No, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, let's go on.
Paid him. Paid him.
She paid.
To
She
not
paid him
talk
to
about
not
it.
say anything. And she was the number 2.
Just feeling the hypocrisy here. But,
So she stepped away from the Me Too environment.
good for her. She probably needs to diversify anyway.
I would say so as well. Carbs are good for you.
They're bad for you.
So according to a new study, which comes out every 2 weeks,
Was that on CNN?
having a low-carb diet, having a low-carb diet actually reduces your lifespan by about 4 years. Now, the studies are going to be, they'll go back and forth about whether, the validity of that study, but it was done over multiple years in multiple locations across the world. The conclusion is a low-carb diet, i.e. having no carbs, essentially, reduces your lifespan by about 4 years.
Sponsored by the gluten industry. They can't make up their damn minds. It is so damn frustrating. I mean, if I'm going to go to the media for my health tips, no.
I mean, it's in part because nobody knows the real answers. It's
They
in
keep
part.
making shit up.
Well,
That's
you
what it
can
comes down
you can
to.
obviously say that smoking is bad for you, meth is bad for you. There's certain things that are just downright obvious.
don't
But
know.
let me give you the perfect
Meth
example.
ain't that bad for you.
Well, you let me know how that works out. You're probably right. Kirk is only 12. He's not looking too good.
I'm 16.
He's 16 years old as a 46-year-old. Okay, so yeah, they do the same thing with milk all the time.
Eggs,
It's good for you. It's not eggs, milk, eggs. It's good for you. It's not very good for you. Fruit.
coffee. Coffee's bad for you.
Wine.
Coffee's
Wine.
bad for you.
I'm just
Wine.
rolling through that one. I don't give a shit what they say anymore because it's just I'm drinking my coffee. Screw you. And if you make me stop drinking coffee, I'm going to kill you. So
Same about wine.
Well, no. So they do this a lot with. Let's go through them one a little bit slower. Milk, they do it a lot. Good for you, bad for you. Red wine, they do this a lot. Red in particular because of its properties. Carbs, of course. What were the other ones you said?
oh, what eggs, meat,
Eggs, the protein in eggs.
high protein, low
High
protein.
low protein. Right.
Well, I think
meat.
this one didn't they say it was low carb diets or high carb diets? They ruled out both ends of the spectrum on this study, or at least they're saying so.
I'm not a physician, and I'm not sure even if you were a physician that you'd have the definitive answer. I think that in this day and age, the best thing to do is just have some balance in your life, right? Eat some vegetables, eat some fruits, eat some lettuce, drink some coffee. Coffee does help, in certain areas, and too much caffeine. Look, if you leave on the extremes of anything, you're going to pay for it.
Yeah.
In one way or another. I know somebody recently, and I'm not going to name names or anything, that got on one of these, pyramid scheme liquid diet things, and where they sell you
The liquid diet,
they sell you the whatever, and so it's got everything you ever need. Don't eat anything else. And,
almost like going to Chipotle.
yeah, all right. Chipotle's just Taco Bell, whatever. So. And this person had an incident, let's call it a medical incident, not a few weeks later. I think I've always told my people I know, just try to have some balance in your life.
Yeah.
A
A little bit of meat, a little bit of
this.
veggies, a little
Right.
bit of fruit.
All right.
Balance it.
A lot of I know I don't particularly care for a lot of vegetables. But I eat them anyway.
They're good for you.
Supposedly.
Nobody's ever come out and said vegetables were bad for you.
If you eat them and that's all you eat, it's bad for you.
Well, oh yeah, there you go.
And
They're on the extreme, right?
There goes the moderation. Sitting
Sitting.
is the new smoking.
We're turning into a health program here. Maybe we should have Dr. Nick show up from The Simpsons.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody.
I noticed this about 6-7 years ago when people were having their standing desks. And I'd always ask them, that doesn't look comfortable to me to stand there all day.
I tried it out. It kind of worked. It was all right. But you just need a higher chair when you got tired from standing.
So how long does it take you to finally say, I'm sick of standing here?
About 2.5 hours.
I need a
right
high-
after I get in.
I need a
2.5 hours. I got to sit my butt down. It's like,
Anybody got a-
dang, man, my back's starting to hurt.
Anybody got a high chair, back chair, pub chair? I can't stand here anymore.
Well, we had some good ones. They were like little booster seats. You could adjust it up. About 3 feet off the ground.
Okay, so then what's the point?
Well,
Now you're just higher up doing nothing.
balance, right? I'm standing. I'm sitting. I'm standing. I'm sitting.
Okay, so I read about this is when I started to notice it about 6-7 years ago. I've seen it a little bit more, and fine. For those who want to stand and work, good for you. I'm sure it's healthier to do that than to sit down. I don't, maybe not. But what I can tell you is this. If you're a sitter, if you're a stander, back up. If you're a sitter, which most people are,
I sit good.
then there is a series of exercises that you're supposed to be doing. One is called the grok squat. Now, if you ever look up a picture of a grok squat, it basically looks like you're just sitting down and having a hard shit. That's what that is.
Or you're in Asia.
Yeah, one of those. Then they've got the table pigeon pose. Look this up. The yoga people probably all know this.
Yoga people out there?
My favorite one that I wouldn't be against is called the couch stretch. And that probably just means while you're at work. Oh, yeah. You just get the... Actually, I do have a couch in my office. And it's specifically for those purposes.
Very nice.
For the couch stretch.
It's nice being the boss.
Yeah, must be nice, huh? And then they have leg swings. So imagine you walk into your office and you see one of your employees doing leg swings and a couch stretch and a gonk bus. What is it called? Like Glock squat. I don't know. Gok squat. I'd be like, get the fuck off the floor.
I thought the article was actually quite hilarious for all the disclaimers he was making on how you would look doing this. So, yeah, try not to do it at work. If you're working at home, it might work better for you.
I imagine walking into other executives' offices and seeing them do gok squats, and I'd be like, what are you doing? At least if you're going to get caught doing the couch stretch. Not the pigeon toe. What was it called? Pigeon perk. Whatever. At the end of the day, here we are again, balancing your life. You can't sit on your butt the whole time. That's not good for you. It's not good for you.
But my boss yells at me when I'm away from my desk for more than 30 minutes.
Yeah. So I was doing a gok squat.
I was walking around the building.
I think you should be in the...
I was going to get lunch. Give me a break, man.
You should say you're doing your gok squat in, like, the bathroom in, like, the open area.
Right in the sink.
Kirk, what are you doing? I'm gok squatting.
Gok squatting, man.
Well, you don't need to have your pants down for that.
Oh, yes, I do. Big thing. It's come back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
RFID. What was the name of the company?
The name of the company. Oh, dang it.
What's the name of the company? I'm going to invade your privacy.
Well, it was in the MIT Technology Review, if I'm going to quote things. And the name of the company was 3 Square Market. And they got RFID chips in their hands. I actually did my master's thesis on RFID. That's where my master's thesis started. And then it ended up with card skimming and all that, the new credit cards.
When did you go to college when you were 6? You're only 12.
16.
I'm 16. I'm like Doogie Howser of IT.
Okay. So they put it in between your thumb and your forefinger here in this little flappy spot.
Makes it hard to cut your finger off and take it.
Yeah. So how many people agreed to do this? Was 60 something?
Originally
80?
it was 50. And then now they're getting droves of new people. They have 80 of them. Must be the new economy or something. I don't know. They're hiring. So, but they're all happy with it. They think it's the coolest thing since sliced bread.
Is it really though? Are they really happy with it?
Well, they can take they can just scan their hand, and then they can have stuff automatically taken from their credit card. They can book train tickets. They can enter the secure building, which I guess is, the original intent, right? What was some of the other neat things they had? They had get in the office, log on to computers, just wave it around on your computer, no typing passwords and usernames and all that crap.
So you're a conspiracy theorist at times.
At times.
At times.
Depends on whether my tinfoil hat falls off or not, but
Well, your propeller's behind you.
Well, I gotta swap those out. They cannot coexist together.
So herein lies the issue with RFID being injected into you as an implant. Is it not just a preface for
Mark of the Beast? if you're a religious person.
To being for everybody to ultimately be implanted, not with RFID necessarily. I think it's just RFID is not in its infancy.
No, it's been around for a long time.
The idea of implanting it into is not new, but this is the first time I've heard that people are accepting it with glee.
Well, they have 250 employees, right? Sounds like it's kind of their business a little bit, right? They have some partnerships and some other things going on.
Okay, so they create these devices, do they not?
I did not get that out of the article. It was kind of obscure there. I was trying to figure that out, and I didn't have much time to look into it.
All right, let's break it down simple. All right, do you want forget about RFID, which is radio frequency identification. Let's go around the horn. Do you want any kind of device implanted in you in order for convenience purposes, whether it be for purchases or unlocking doors or whatever it may be? Do you want an implant put in you by anybody? My answer is no.
I'm kind of skeptical about my phone on certain days, but yeah, no, I'm not there at all.
No, I'm not there.
I mean, I'm not a dog, right? I mean, people use this to track their dogs and their cats and all that good stuff.
I mean, the premise would be that it's not just unlock doors. It's to do, let's just say, a little bit of everything. Or you can unlock your door. You can start this device with it. You can start your car with it. You can start and so on and so forth. The presumption is that that'll advance far enough past RFID and have multiple, if not infinite functions, right? So, nonetheless, I mean, do you want a device put in you by a third party? My answer is no. Yours is no. Brittany?
No, I don't.
I already know what Jess is going to say.
Yeah, she's
No way.
She's
No frickin' way.
No way.
She's anti. Being
although I think there are people that would welcome it.
Well, I would welcome it if I was 80 years old and it was put in me for medical monitoring, for example.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't have to have a fallen and I can't get up device hanging around my neck all the time.
What if you're on probation? What if the government wants to put one in you and you're on probation?
Yeah, well, they put the right. Okay, so right now they put the cuff on you.
Yep.
People, no, they're gonna just take it out.
It's a
If
slippery slope.
if you had an RFID, let's say it's the same thing, the RFID thing, right? Especially where they're putting it, which there's virtually zero sensitivity in that part of your body, right? So they stick it in there. People just take it off and leave it at home, which will show that you're always at home.
Well, it's kind of hard to get it off. They have some tamper items on there. Yeah, you start popping it, the battery goes out. They got a cop car at your house. Not that I know by experience or anything.
You know,
Just saying.
Let's see your fingertips. Let's see.
Check John McCain's leg the next time.
Yeah, exactly. So, I just want anything implanted in me. I'm on that. I don't know if it's a generational thing where, over time things just become more acceptable. It's just.
Well, that's the thing. Each generation has this little bit of encroachment, and then the encroachment goes a little bit further in the next generation. They're not hurrying this by any means. Whoever wants to. Get these types of devices.
No, it's the Skull and Bones group, right?
I'm not going there. George Bush had nothing to do with it.
I'm not talking. I'm saying that the society exists, right? It's admitted that it exists, right? The Skull and Bones.
The Masons,
if they have a 700-year plan,
Latter-day Saints,
right? Then fine, so be it. But
Scientologists. Who knows? Who knows who's driving this?
I'm not saying they're driving it. I'm just saying if there's some secret, society or non-secret society that's attempting to, lobby for these type of positions non-politically and get things into over the next 600 years for purposes of, the grander good.
Well, we put it in cattle, we put it in dogs, we put it in cats. So there's somebody around that thinks that, we're the equivalent of dogs and cats and cattle that need to be monitored and observed, right?
Well, they sell it differently, though. They sell it as
Convenience.
yeah, convenience.
Anybody
So-
selling me convenience, I'm usually wary of. After so many years, after my big 16 years on the planet, I'm starting to realize convenience isn't all it's cracked up to be.
No, it is not. So Jessica were to come to me and say, "Would you like me to put this RFID thing in you so you can finally remember your door code?" I would probably say yes. No, I'm kidding. I'd say no.
I'm just going to keep punching buttons
I'd
until
say
it
no.
opens.
She doesn't even come to the door anymore. She just leaves.
She
me out
just
there.
looks at us
She's like,
and
"You'll
laughs.
figure- Yeah, you'll figure it out, you dummy."
Come on in. You can't. You're
So,
dumb.
you know what the problem is? It doesn't have. There's no. It's like a phone number. Like a phone number has a pattern to it. 517-555-1212. If you were to say it differently, like 517-215-2244, you'd be like, "What the hell are you
What?
talking about?"
5?
Exactly.
1 7?
Right.
3?
So the codes need to
02.
be split into. Just a suggestion for you, Jessica. Now that you're not paying attention.
I'm paying attention.
Split it into two parts, like 212-048 instead of like 212-048. I'm never gonna
Wait a
remember.
minute. It's
You
It
know what?
is-
That's not a bad idea.
Cognitively,
good idea.
people think of things in smaller pieces.
Well, yeah, because, when you're looking at a line of numbers, you naturally want to group them together.
Exactly.
Well, my
So you're
problem
welcome
was
for the advisement. That is $1,100.
the reason I was
Take
punching
it off
numbers
my
on it.
take it off my tab.
I looked at the 0 as a null value, so it didn't even register. It's like, it's a null value. I don't care.
Yeah, well,
I
you're
don't even
thinking
need
as a
it.
technologist, right? A bunch of bits and bytes. Okay, so Larry Nasser, who is the gym teacher. I'm like dumbing it down. He's the gym teacher.
The
He's
creepy gym
the
teacher.
gymnastics
Yeah.
gym teacher, gym coach for the females at MSU. Got busted whenever, a couple years back for being an idiot.
Evil.
Yeah,
That is an
not
evil
good.
mother
So-
right there.
So apparently, he goes to jail, and he's in Arizona federal prison.
I hope he sweats a lot.
So I guess what happened to him yesterday or today was
Got
is
shanked?
that- no, he didn't get shanked.
Damn.
I guess his lawyer is complaining that he was harassed within the first couple hours that he got there.
Oh, poor
And
thing.
the poor guy.
Oh.
They're like they're. I'm being.
Hey,
bu-
you that NASA? Come on over here.
Yeah.
You're going to be my girlfriend.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Yeah, I'm being."
And
harassed."
dads are like sitting there going, yeah.
So they're moving him. They did move him to an Oklahoma facility upon the.
That's worse than going to hell.
Well, it's a temporary stay. Oklahoma. It's apparently a holding pattern before where you go next.
The wood chipper?
I think the deal
Just saying.
the deal in prison is if you mess with kids, it's like their supposed code of ethics, which is in and of itself ridiculous.
The fact that there's even any level of ethics in prison, I'm like, that just kind of blows my mind.
Well,
So,
I mean, they pick one thing. They just picked one thing. Like, don't mess with. I might have killed my whole family, but don't mess with the kids, though.
killed 17 people.
Yeah, I killed 80 people.
You mess with the kid.
But you mess with a kid. Yeah,
Hey, I'm all for it.
No,
I
they're
like
all- Look, they're all bad. Don't get me wrong, but I mean that's their that's their thing.
Well, there's this weirdness that like people are trying to say like, don't judge pedos and all this other stuff. All of a sudden it's surfacing. It's like, my God, if you would have done back in the 50s, you would have disappeared in a hole in the desert somewhere.
You heard about that? Who said that? Don't judge pedos.
They were walking around with this whole
Pedos or
Washington
pedos? I
D.C.
think it's
Well,
pedos.
it started the Antifa thing. Antifa was protesting the fascist right wing, those god dang Nazi bastards, and so they were out there in Washington, and then you had a troop of them, all the different weird things that they say, but then there was like, don't judge pedos. What? I mean, my God, man. What
Yeah,
is
like-
wrong with these people?
Well, that's everybody with the trophy thought process, right? don't judge them, and they're people too.
Have they had lobotomies?
So on. So, well, we used to do it. We don't do that anymore.
I think we need to go back to it. They'd be smarter.
One flew over the cuckoo's nest.
Come on, Chief. You can do it.
I knew you had depression for that. What was this guy about I was just in Ireland.
Florida man.
A couple months ago.
Florida man.
Reminded me of kind of like what I would do. So I was in Ireland, about 2-3 months ago. And apparently some guy, and you can fill in the blanks here, some guy was approached by a mugger.
In Ireland.
And tried to take his wallet and his baggie or whatever. And it turned out to be a pretty large American guy. And he basically took the guy and tied him up to a pole.
He did. America.
He was like, America.
America, screw you.
You know where I'm from? America. Tie you up to this pole. Apparently everybody was laughing that he had gotten caught by the American guy from Florida. Was out there visiting, apparently.
Florida man has
tried
been
to mug
winning.
him. He grabbed him, tied him to a pole, and everybody was laughing at the guy until the police showed up.
And police got him, nabbed him, cuff him and stuff him.
I remember just standing out in Dublin. Nobody, that's something definitely I would do.
I thought it was great. And then there was the actual Florida man from about 3 weeks ago. Apparently, Florida man got pulled over by a really kind of cute state trooper.
You're talking about the same guy.
No.
Oh, different.
It's the concept of Florida man.
I see. We're in Florida.
Yeah.
The state.
Well, the latest one, Florida man's losing. He set a raccoon on fire because he was eating his mangoes in his backyard.
I don't know how many different people you're talking about. All right, so go on.
But anyway, so Florida man got pulled over, started flirting with the police officer. He was making compliments about her. Apparently, he's a smooth talker. Oh yeah,
Did it work?
No way.
right in her cop car.
Oh my God.
And she got, doesn't she have a body cam on?
Apparently, that's how they found out.
That gives a whole new meaning to body cam.
Point of view, that whole deal.
POV. POV body cam.
Maybe she
Cop
can.
porn.
Maybe she can take over the Me Too movement.
Yeah, I tried this once, by the way. I got. Well, not.
Oh, really?
Well, I don't.
Oh, do tell.
We're gonna go back to my nipple comments from last week.
Oh no.
Just for clarification purposes.
That's why she was into it.
I got pulled over in Detroit one time. This is, again, everything that happened to me is apparently 15 years ago. And I pulled into one of those medians on the freeway. I had gotten about 20 miles. I was going to the airport, which is about an hour and a half drive. I got about 20 minutes out of town. I had forgotten something like critical, like my license or my wallet or whatever, to get on the plane. So I needed to turn around. The next exit isn't for 6 miles. So it said, screw it. And I pulled into one of those unauthorized
Authorized vehicles
only. And sure enough,
Woo!
there's a cop sitting in there. I'm like, no.
Come on, Flash. We
So-
want to get him.
She turns on, and it was a female at the time. She turns on her lights and whoop, whoop, And I pull over and I make up this whole story about how I thought my tire wasn't doing too good. I got out of the car at the beginning. She's not but 5 feet tall, and she's like, "Get back in the car." And I'm like, No, it's just a tire issue. She's like, "Get back in." She didn't do that. But
Okay.
So I got back in the car. I was like, "What's the problem?" It's like, "Well, you can't pull into here." I'm like, "Well, I'm aware of that, but I forgot something, and you just happen to be sitting here, so here we are." It's like, what? So
And here we are.
so what's up?
What's up?
And I was like, trying to charm her and all that stuff.
That's a nice belt you got there. There's a lot of those real Smith & Wesson handcuffs.
So I thought for sure. I was like, well, I can be charming, right? And what are you laughing at?
She's probably had quite a few people do that.
So she comes back to the car, and I'm thinking, I got this. Not only am I going to get, she'll hand me a ticket with her phone number on it. That's not what I got.
No, that wasn't a phone number. That was your fine.
That was my fine amount. I was like, why isn't it 7 digits? Why isn't this 10 digits? She's like, you've been fined like 280. I'm like, I just want to go home.
I got to fix my tire.
I did the tire thing at the beginning. I finally gave in. I was like, all right, fine. There's no tire problem. I just had to get it back. She's like, I know. And I'm like, but,
I'm cute.
I'm a cute guy and you're a cute girl. And she's like, hey,
You want to see my boobs?
I said that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's because I was wearing my Japanese T-shirt.
Vest and chap.
Oh, Japanese, yes.
My Japanese
Your
T-shirt.
assless chaps.
With the leather hat. That's probably what turned her off. She's like, oh.
Yeah.
Now I feel
He's
like
heading down to
This-
Bookies.
now I feel like I got this whole YMCA thing going on in my head. And I gotta have like a 70s porn mustache and all that stuff. And you're gonna post something up too.
Gross.
Oh, if we were live and I could post this, I actually found a picture that actually worked with that whole last episode that we just talked about. I'm going to have to share that.
Send it to me. I'll post it.
Oh,
We'll post it on Instagram.
Oh, yes. Yep. And I can do some Photoshop. And we'll be
Yeah,
all
you
set.
Photoshop my face into it. That's
Yep.
nice. That'll be good for my public relations.
I want to be, let's see.
Yeah, which one do you want to be?
I want to be the guy. No, you can't do the mask. Do the one on the right. He's got a cute beard.
Yeah.
All
All
right.
right.
We can
I
do that.
see it.
Did I just hear you say he's got a cute beard?
I did, didn't I?
It's time for a break.
I'm just being tolerant.
Jessica, it's time for a break.
Cut them off.
Cut us off before we self-destruct. Chris we got Chris on the phone. Chris is going to add to the podcast today.
Hey, Chris, how are you?
Hi. Good. Hi, guys. How are you?
Good. How you doing? You got that Massachusetts Boston thing going on, huh?
I'm from Boston.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, he does.
Yes.
All right, so we were talking about. Do you know what a blue waffle is?
A blue waffle.
Have you ever heard of a blue waffle? I've not heard of it before. Have you heard of it before?
Say
No,
no.
I have. I have not.
You've not. How about a?
Don't Google it.
Yeah, don't-
Whatever you do, don't do it.
Don't Google.
Okay.
Do it.
What's a Tallahassee gas mask?
Do you know what Tallahassee gas mask is?
No, I know what a. Well, I don't know what's appropriate for the year, but
Go for
I
it.
think I know where you guys are going with this.
Go for it. Dutch oven.
Covered wagon.
You got one.
Was it called the Detroit Steamer or something like that?
A
Cleveland Steamer.
Cleveland steamer. No,
Hot.
Detroit can't
Yeah.
claim fame to that one.
Hot Carl.
No.
Wait, let's go one at a time.
Yeah.
Cleveland steamer.
Yeah, is that where you guys are going with this
Yeah, I
stuff?
don't know. What is a Cleveland steamer?
Well, I can't say it on the radio
Oh,
or on
Well,
the air.
it's just a podcast, so we're not subject to FCC regulations. We're good.
Yeah, but I still wouldn't feel comfortable.
well, he's got a job too. Right?
Oh,
Yeah.
right. We're baiting people in, right?
So we
Got it.
were talking about I wanted to get to one particular more serious topic briefly.
Sure.
There's this stuff called I don't know if you read this story, but a bunch of 150 tons of fish floated up onto the Florida beaches in the last week.
Really?
Yeah,
Right.
red tide.
Red tide.
Because of the red tide.
Right.
Exactly. And does anybody know what a red tide is?
I think isn't it just an overconcentration of algae?
Keep going.
I'm not exactly sure. It's just that the chemicals aren't in line with each other, and algae or bacteria take over and cause fish and wildlife to die.
Yeah, in enormous amounts, including dolphins I know. Jessica just said that. Oh,
Manatees, fish. You know.
Yeah, well, I've never heard of it to be that extreme. I grew up in the Cape, and red tide was always something that was relatively prevalent, but it was never, to extreme proportions the way that they're describing this current outbreak in Florida.
Yeah, did you ever see it for yourself? I mean, on the beaches?
No, not that I can recall, but I remember being down the Cape where there was red tide, going on currently.
Did you see it? Because you can see it. You can actually see the red on floating on the top.
I can't say that I recall that. No. But I just remember growing up. I mean, red tide was something that I heard about, periodically growing up.
So apparently, the 150 million tons that washed up on shore this week, is just a fraction of what actually dies. The rest stays on the surface or sinks to the bottom of the Gulf.
I heard there was 2 different stories on that, actually. And one of them was Lake Okeechobee, however you want to say it. I mispronounced it and slaughtered it, so hang me. But apparently they've had a lot of rain down there. The lake overfills. So you have drainage, and you look at the drainage tables in Florida. And what happens is Florida has to do everything so it drains out, right? Because they're at sea level. So what happens is the lake started actually filling up, had so much fresh water in it, and they had to purge the fresh water because it was too high. Because if they let that water sit in there, it would actually flood out people that were living there. And cause problems.
In addition, I think that I don't know if this is related, but the algae can't survive in freshwater conditions. They have to have whatever it is, a sodium or alkaline level that is sustainable for them.
So that's the second part. So the second part, my mom and dad lived down there, and my son goes to school down there. So he just went back down. He doesn't know yet, but when he gets down there and he can't go to the beach, he's going to be really pissed. But it was the last story that my mom was telling me was that they said it's because of the fertilizers. So everybody's fertilizing their lawns, getting all that stuff nice and green, and the fertilizers causing the problem because when they purge the fresh water into the salt water, that's what causes the issue. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but I think just dumping fresh water into salt water causes problems because it becomes an algae alkali, issue.
Right.
So, but that's what I know.
Chemical imbalance.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
I wouldn't blame it on fertilizer, but it's possible, right?
Yeah, a lot of fertilizer, I'm sure, would be a big contributor or something like that, hypothetically. So apparently this can affect humans as well.
Oh, they can have allergic
if
reactions.
you have lung issues and
can't breathe it.
respiratory issues.
Can't swim in it.
Can't swim in it because you're going to
It'll mess you up.
It'll mess you up pretty good.
Kills fish.
Sure.
Kill you.
Apparently the way the fish die is that they'll actually die through eating things that have infected say for example, mussels, right? Oh. So they'll go after the mussels to eat them, ducks, birds, whatever, other fish, and they're infected with it, and then it gets into their system, and within, I think it's about 30 minutes, it'll essentially render you helpless.
Dang.
And
Right,
then,
it's going right through the digestive system.
Yeah. Kind of like Chipotle.
like Chipotle.
Yeah.
It's like eating a Chipotle.
Now, has anybody blamed global warming on it yet?
I didn't see that in the story because I think that it's a worldwide event that occurs naturally. And has for
and it's been happening forever.
It's been happening forever. It's basically the world. I have a concept that the world is actually trying to get rid of all of us, in some capacity or another. And it's I want to call it an equalizer.
George Carlin theory. Hey, the Earth wants to shake us off. It will.
It's much more powerful than.
To control population.
Population control is what it is. Even though I could sit out on my dock and try to catch a fish for 6 hours and it doesn't work.
Right.
Apparently, 150 million tons of dolphins will show up on the beach.
Yeah, it tastes like tuna.
How do you feel about that?
Yeah.
There's just
No, I'm just surprised that certain groups or organizations haven't, tried to blame the recent cases that seem a little bit extreme on global warming. That's all.
Well,
Just
I did hear Stevie Wonder actually blamed Aretha Franklin's cancer on global warming. That was an article I saw today. Yes, my head exploded when I read that. I was like,
you're kidding. Was that TMZ thing? Or
no, I think it was Drudge. It might have been Drudge.
The Drudge Report.
Yeah.
So how would that have
well, this wasn't Alex Jones.
Yeah. Well, Alex Jones.
Freedom of speech, man. Come on.
He's off the air now, right?
He's off of everything.
He's off of everything right now.
Damn it. Defend the Constitution. Anyway, sorry. I digress. Squirrel.
U.S. Steel, $750 million.
That's a huge investment.
The company called U.S. Steel is investing $750 million into their company based on the U.S. tariffs.
Makes me feel good. We're going to have good American steel.
That's pretty cool.
I'm not against American product, of course. But at the end of the day, it's the right thing to do, objectively. You're looking at me like what? I mean, we use mostly Chinese.
Steel, man. It's steel.
I know.
We build nations on steel.
I understand.
We build our aircraft carriers. We build everything on steel.
I also have a coal plant across from my house. And
that's okay, because we're not going to use coal anymore in our power plants. So don't worry. It's fine.
Across the street from me, there's a coal plant.
Yeah, it'll go away. Don't worry.
So you think it's a good idea for, objectively, don't misunderstand. Great, American jobs, get it. U.S. Steel, get it.
Yeah.
Question is it really helping in the overall scheme of things? The tariffs.
The tariffs?
Yeah.
Well, I think the tariffs are a bold move. I don't know enough about economics and trade to really know if it's at the end of the day the right move, but I think it's a move that something needed to be done. To me, it seems like a common sense move. It doesn't seem fair that other countries charge tariffs, and if we try to charge a tariff, we're chastised. It's the same thing with the immigration. Other countries have borders, and no one gives them a hard time. We try to secure our borders, and all of a sudden we're, the evil empire. So I look at it the same way. I mean, we need to protect our best interest, and no one's done anything about it over the years. So Trump, like everything else he does, seems to be a little bit outside the box, but it's moving things, it's shaking things, it's getting people talking, and so far it seems to, at least be doing things in terms of moving things in the right direction.
It's a good perspective. I think you're talking about basically the trade imbalance that we've had for the better part of 20 years, right?
Exactly. Yeah, even longer, like 40 years.
Since
50?
we gave
since World War II,
gave
basically.
countries those tariffs to help them recover from the devastations of war, World War II, etc. So we did that to help them out, but now it's just like given that we're just going to allow them to continue to do that. And then when we try to introduce tariffs to balance the playing field, we get chastised. It just doesn't seem right.
So how do you think
the problem is Trump doesn't have a good way of articulating it, and so he muddies the waters, and people aren't able to see through the clutter.
So how do you think he'll deal with the Chinese at the end of the day? Because that's the number one imbalance, right? I mean, so it's tit for tat. We impose a tariff, they impose a tariff. Obviously, they're trying to keep the imbalance favorable to their end because we have a lot of imports. A ton of imports from them. The reason I talked about the objectiveness of it, meaning that I'm not saying that we don't build better steel and that we shouldn't have the jobs here, but that It's the same reason you outsource anything. It comes down to money.
Right.
Cost, right? So outsourcing IT,
But
outsourcing
quality comes down to it at the end.
Not disputing quality. Look, you and I both know that outsourcing information technology, and let's say steel, for example, the quality of the Chinese product is not nearly that of an American product.
You know, if the Defense Department is sending out an order for steel to China, they aren't going to make that steel, and they aren't going to have the quality controls. Shoot, I mean, when they put Craftsman out in China, I mean, I got pictures of wrenches that says, you know, it's misspelled on the wrench. You know what? I mean, it's like quality control. How close are you going to make it? Right?
Well, the problem is, I mean, people are going to provide a better product and lessen their profit margin to win a bid or to get a job. But then slowly over time, they're going to do the same thing that everybody else does. They're going to lower the quality, raise the prices, to improve profit margins.
Right.
So, you know, it's just, I mean, that's just how it goes. You know, so in terms of getting people to, you know, to do something immediately and to provide a better product, I mean, you know, that's our initial. People will do that to, like I said, to win the job. And to get back to the other question in terms of Trump's, you know, dealing with China on a long-term basis, I mean, the problem is, you know, if he doesn't get reelected, everything that he's set up, you know, he's not going to be able to accomplish in 4 years, because it takes a lot longer than 4 years to do anything. So you get a new president that comes in, and they're just going to undo everything that he tried to set up.
Yeah, there's
my guess.
There's the cycle and the pendulum of politics, right?
Exactly, it's a pendulum.
Right. So, leading into the last question.
But I think he needs to stick to his guns, and he needs to hold firm. And I think China's already shown signs of, you know, wanting to come to the table and you know, make arrangements.
Exactly.
But you know, try to work something out.
North Korea. Look at North Korea. They came to the table. Look at, I mean,
Well,
everybody's dealing with this differently.
I'm a little bit hesitant about North Korea just because, you know, it's North Korea. But yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. I mean, no one else has been able to accomplish what Trump's been able to accomplish with North Korea.
It may not be the most eloquent way of communicating, but Twitter is not eloquent by any means. And if you can throw that out there, and you can get, you know, another leader of another country to cave like he did. I mean, there was a whole bunch of reasons about it and things we will never know, right? But I mean, China is at least wanting to play with us, and they're like, okay, well, we'll talk. But I mean, we've been laying down for the world. We've been the world's piggy bank for so long.
No, right.
We've been handing out money.
Totally in agreement. And Obama was the worst. And yeah, so I mean, everything that Trump does, I mean, I agree with, you know, 90% plus of his policies and everything. And you know, and it's I just think it's funny how the left and the liberals are just like so up in arms. But I mean, if you look at everything he's accomplished, I mean, no one's even come close to what he's accomplished, you know, in terms of first 2 years as president. And it, you know, just in terms of you know, economically, foreign policy, everything that he's doing domestically to just shake things up and get things done. I mean, no one's ever done that. And think of all the things that he said that he was going to do as president, in terms of, and then how much of that he's actually has achieved or is close to achieving. I mean, you know, his statistics are, you know, are awesome.
I've been on this planet for what, like 50 years, right? I have never seen a politician. 12. I'm sorry, 16. It's my fake ID.
Four cycles. Right.
But I'm telling you, you look at what he does, what he said he was going to do. He's the first president I can remember, besides Reagan. And even Reagan caved on a whole bunch of shit. As soon as he got in office and people told him, this is how it's done, he caved on a whole bunch of things. This guy is not caving. He's like a train, and he is rolling, and he is not going to stop for anybody. He doesn't give a shit.
No, and the thing is, he's not. I don't think he's. At the end of the day, I don't think he's malicious. I think he has all the best intentions in the world, and that's why I truly believe that, and that's why if he screws up or he does something stupid, or maybe if he ruffles feathers a little too hard, I'm like, so be it, because I really truly believe that he loves the country, and at the end of the day, he wants to do the best thing possible for the country, and he's smart enough to know that the world is so complicated, and there's so many groups, and there's an organization for everything against everything, that you're gonna get people upset. You're gonna get groups upset. You can't go about your business without doing that. But he understands that, and he just moves forward. And I think he really does. I think he's got the best intentions at heart.
So let me summarize for you. You're definitely a Democrat. That's clear.
He's a Nazi.
We've clearly figured out that you're a Democrat. No, but listen.
Quickly.
Yeah. So let me ask you something.
Not you, Chris. I meant Trump.
Oh,
sorry.
So we talked a couple weeks back about whether we thought, and this is my opinion about it. If Trump is actually playing with a full deck or not, meaning. I understand the understanding of policies, and I'm not going to dispute the politics of it and his successes and his failures or whatever it may be. But do you think the guy's actually playing with a full deck? Yeah, look it up in an urban dictionary, right? I mean, full deck means is you have all his cards in place, right?
Well, I think when you get to be 70 years old, I think you care a little bit less about what people think about you, even if you're the president, because you've lived a lot longer than a lot of people and a lot longer than a lot of your critics.
I'm 50 and
so
I feel that way.
He has a little bit of that, where he just doesn't really care. And I think he thinks that he knows what he's doing. Has his age cat caught up with him a little bit? Probably. I mean, he's probably not as smart and as tight as he used to be. Mentally.
Who is?
I was thinking about the election period, and I'm sure you watched as much of it as I did, which is a fair amount. And that is, when he's speaking of, when he was doing the debates, for example.
Yeah.
And I'm not being devil's advocate here. I'm just talking about an individual. It has nothing to do with politics. The question is the guy playing with a full deck? Meaning that. I'm pretty confident at the time that he didn't actually have, defined policies. I think he had probably
some basic concepts.
Yeah, concepts and deep thought processes and beliefs. Thank you. About how he wanted to run things, just didn't have a plan about how to go about doing it, which is in part the reason for the ambiguity during the debates. Right.
Ambiguity? You're going to jail. How about that one? I like that one.
For which, what did he say he was going to jail for?
He told Hillary.
For immigration?
You're going to jail.
Oh, he told Hillary she was
that gave me that just gave me the freedom boner from hell.
She should be in jail.
Orange is the new black.
No, but and what was that? The female person who was running for president, and he basically, in the middle of a nationwide televised debate, called her ugly. All of America.
But that's
he was
talking about
right. He has no scruples.
Was it Megan Whitmore?
Right.
Debbie, that was
Debbie Stabenow?
totally uncalled.
Was that who it was?
No, it was Megan Whitmore. She was the.
No. Carly
Fiorina.
She was running for.
Carly
HP.
Fiorina, who ran HP.
Yeah. Into the ground.
Yeah, and in the middle of a nationwide debate, he just basically calls her ugly, and you can't do that. But he got away with it.
I think you call that the crazy Ivan, because he colludes with Russians, right? So he's just going to spin around and come back the other way on you.
Yeah, but that was totally uncalled for. Nobody should have done that.
Politics are ugly, though. But if you think about the stuff that they do in the background, it's way worse than anything he's ever said. You look at the stuff that's going on. Holy moly. There's some evil stuff going on in D.C. right now.
No, I mean it's always like that, though.
It is.
Well, and that's
true.
probably why. That's probably how he justifies the things that he does, because he probably understands all the backdoor politics that go on.
I mean,
because he's been around it.
The media is always liberal leaning, right? It doesn't matter.
Oh yeah.
What I try to say is, it doesn't matter what your politics are. You got to admit that the press tends
Absolutely.
to be liberal leaning.
Absolutely.
That's not to say there's not a Fox News to try to stamp it out, but whatever. So I mean, in short, do you think that, and your honest opinion, whether you want him to or not, but do you think that, I mean, we're going to be in an election cycle again in about a year? Yeah, I mean, going out for. He'll be the incumbent, so obviously he'll be up for it.
Yeah.
You think he'll get reelected? I don't see.
Yeah,
I don't see anybody on the
everything's-
Democrat side that's really going to challenge too well right now. But
I-
Mark Cuban potentially, if he comes up for it. But I can't see any politicians right now. If Mark Cuban were to announce,
No. I think if everything stays on track the way it is now, and everything continues to move in a reasonable upward progression, I think he'll maintain his base. I think he'll grow his base, especially if the Democrats continue to move further to the left, and just concepts like doing away with
ICE
and I mean just crazy things like that. I think that the Democrats aren't going to have enough time to build a realistic and believable platform to run on.
I read something a week ago that not even a week ago, it was this week, that 6% of the electorate of African American voters voted for Trump.
39% approval rate in the black community right now.
39%.
Right.
And that's
So
from a
that's
poll that may be
grow his
biased.
base.
That is an enormous problem for the Democrats.
Yeah.
That's an enormous problem.
And I'm not keeping up on all the stats and everything, but I bet you that's not the only group that's like that.
Damn.
The only segment.
Well, you'd have to demographically, just the Hispanic vote is important as well. So I'm not sure what the stats are on that, but
nobody's covering it because it must not be good. Good for them, or good from.
Well, I mean,
the perspective of-
unemployment is virtually zero right now. I said
4.9%. That is
it's
technically zero. Yeah.
Virtually zero. So everybody. The majority of people who want to be employed are employed in some capacity. Right.
Yeah.
Now people would look back and say, you could get into the cycle of it's Obama's policies that created, I understand.
I don't buy that.
I understand, but
Those jobs are gone. Yeah. What do you got? A magic wand?
No, it's not.
Oh, abracadabra.
I'm just pointing up the objectiveness in this. People, certain things.
Some people are going to say that, sure.
Say that things that took place 3 years ago are now kicking in. Some things that's actually true. Unemployment.
Sure.
I'm not sure that's the case in this particular case. It would take a study in order to do that, an objective one at that. But all we can say, that's not the way people generally look at it, though. So it doesn't matter.
No, they're going to blame the current president.
They're going to
put everything on the current president.
Right. So it doesn't matter if you go back and say, well, that was because of Obama's. People don't buy that. Yeah. I mean, it could be true.
No,
it could be true.
But
it could be true. But
right.
Whatever's in front of you is in front of you. Right. So people are going to say essentially, look. Unemployment is good, and Trump's the president. It's sort of a simpleton's way of looking at it, but that's the way it is. And so, I mean, all in all, you think he'll get elected again?
I do. I definitely do. Yeah. Yeah, unless something major happens, where for example, they all of a sudden it turns out that there was collusion on the Russian, with the Russians on the election. If all of a sudden something like that, there's a smoking gun, outside of something like that or something drastic, I think everything's moving in the right direction. Where 2 years is like nothing. You blink and 2 years go by.
Yeah,
so I think in terms of a re-election, I think absolutely he'll be re-elected.
Even if there was collusion, he'll still get a pass.
Well, I think so, because I think the majority really aren't going to give an F, and not every case of collusion is necessarily illegal. It's not. So there's going to be enough ways for him to wiggle out of it.
On this before we close out, Chris.
Nice having you on, Chris.
Yeah.
What was the stupid news one that we're talking about? Oh, we were talking about I wanted to ask him about the 3 Square thing. Go ahead, Kirk.
Oh, 3 Square. All right.
Tell him what that's about.
Oh, all right. So we've got a company, 250 people. About 3 or 4 years ago, everybody got implanted with RFID, the little rice-shaped chips. And they actually, about 50 of them, they got it. They love it. They think it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. Now the company of 250 has about 80 people. And they're doing a story on it out of the MIT News, which is, MIT, a bunch of eggheads, technology folks. And they're kind of saying, hey, RFID chips are great for people. Look at this. We can log into our computer. We can enter a building. We can
make purchases on site.
Wand it right over the old credit card scanner, and here I go. I got my latte with soy. How great is that? Give me convenience or give me death. I mean, I'm not judging, but that sounds pretty cool.
Well,
so we were on.
I'm not sure if I understand the concept.
Okay, so they basically stick a chip in between your thumb and your forefinger. That little flappy piece in between.
Oh,
that gets flappier as you get older.
Okay, yeah.
Okay,
I got a lot of flappy places nowadays.
Right? You're flapping all over the place.
I don't know. That might be. I'm me personally, but look at my age. I'm 50. I don't know if I'm ready. I don't know if I'm. I don't know if. I don't know if I'm ready for that.
No. It's interesting that you. I think it's interesting that you mentioned the age, because.
Yeah.
We said that generationally, that it's not something. We went around the room. There's 4 people here in this room. We all said no, that we wouldn't do it. But that the idea is maybe to incorporate those types of technologies into society over the course of maybe even 10, 15, 20, 100 years, right? Where it's everyday norm. Like you're born.
Yeah.
You get circumcised and you get an RFID chip stuck in you.
It's what is socially acceptable.
Right.
It seems like it's in line with the way that things are progressing,
right.
That it seems like a natural step, but for me, probably not, unless that's unless all of a sudden, I'm going to live to be 110 years old, and that's the only way I can, in other words, people who even people who don't, eventually everybody succumbed to the idea of using debit cards as opposed to using a checkbook at the grocery store.
Oh, let me give you an example on top of that. Okay, so now over the last couple of years, we've been trained to use our debit cards in a different capacity than we were before. Does it have a chip or it doesn't have a chip? Right. How long did it?
No one carries cash or a checkbook anymore.
Right. It took me. I'll give it in the 6-minute warning. I'll tell you again. If I want to talk for 6 hours, I'm going to talk for 6 hours.
No.
You just may not be here anymore.
Sweet.
Got it. I'll come in
No.
and check on you.
No, we're cutting them off.
Just swipe the debit card, swipe the RFID, and we're going to keep rolling.
All right. So, Chris, would you as a parent? We don't discuss details of our
Chip your
families.
daughter?
Would you chip your daughter?
Or son, whatever you.
He's okay.
Not today.
We'll figure it out.
Not today. Definitely not.
Your cat? Your
Definitely
dog?
Not today.
I'll
Your wife?
I'll chip my dog. Would you chip your wife?
Livestock?
You should chip your wife.
No, I don't.
She's
It just doesn't.
listening.
It just doesn't. It seems like it's. It seems like. Are we still talking about the rice thing in between that flap between your two fingers?
Yep.
Okay.
Chipping 'em.
To me, that just seems like too.
Invasive.
Well, and yeah, and it's almost like it's like we're quantum leaping to the future. I don't know. It just doesn't seem natural. Like it, and not even in like even a natural progression. It seems like it's just out of. It seems like it might be one of those things that seems like it makes sense, but then something else is going to come along that's going to make more sense, but now it's too late because you already got this thing in your hand. Unless they can just easily remove it,
No,
I don't know. In other words, it seems like it might be premature.
Yeah, they can take
I
they can take it out. But I was saying earlier that I could see if you're maybe an older person and you wanted it for health monitoring purposes or
Yeah, for health benefits, sure.
Yeah, but let it roll through your GI tract and let it roll out too. I don't want that thing stuck in me all the time.
Well, it's not going to come out like a pebble through your urethra, like you drank too much coffee.
Yeah, the idea is it goes
like you
in
have
and
to
it
pee
stays
it
there.
out. You don't have to pee out your rice RFID.
Hey, as long as
If that was the only way
my
to get
heart,
it,
I don't give a shit.
If that was the only way to get it out, that would be horrible. They tell you that after you put it in, it has to come out like a has to. Oh, this removes itself like a kidney stone.
No. Oh no.
And it's got
We're good.
sharp little serrated
I'll die.
edges on it.
Thank you.
Or you could take it out.
You ever had one?
What?
A kidney stone?
No, but I have had a catheter.
Oh yeah, I've had a couple of those, but I've had a couple of kidney stones. Had a friend of mine, about 15 years down the road.
Drink water, man.
I drink the shit out of water, but hey, who knows? Anyway, so I had a friend of mine that actually he goes, hey, I got this pain. He described the pain to me. I said, oh, that's a kidney stone. He's like, no. I'm like, go to the doctor. He'll check it out. Sure enough, he had a kidney stone. The only way you can identify the pain is if you've had it.
What the absolute burning sensation?
No, it's not like a burning thing. It's not like,
I've never had one, so.
It's like this. The only thing I can compare it to, and people have talked about it, it's like giving birth, but not.
To a pea.
Because it's that painful.
To a pea size.
There's only like one drug that can take that edge off. Oh man, I sat for 4 hours in an emergency room and they didn't give me the drug. And then some lady walks by. I go, hey, by the way, could somebody give me the drugs? And she's like, oh, they didn't give it to you? I'm like, no.
No, I had a catheter once. That's not something I ever want to do again.
Oh,
ever.
No.
We're not built to have things going in the opposite direction.
Well, you know how to get rid of a kidney stone?
How?
Well, you could break it up with
Same
sound.
way. You're going through that route, and you're going all the way up, and then you're going into that spot right between the kidney and the bladder, and they're going to take a little machine. They're going to go up there and jam it around. Yeah.
What are you in the 1880s? There's different ways. There's different ways to handle it.
It was 1990s.
Yeah. All right. Well, 1880s, same thing. All right. So you can break it up now.
I went to the barber. He put leeches on me and shit.
You ever had a kidney stone, Chris?
No, not at all. But
He doesn't drink coffee.
maybe it's
You will now.
maybe it's something. That's
Don't
what I'm
say
thinking.
that.
I'm thinking maybe I'm at the right age.
Yeah. Just drink lots of water. All right, Chris. We
Stay
appreciate
hydrated.
Yeah, we appreciate you being on. We'll call you next week.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
Thanks, Chris.
Bye, Chris.
Bye.
All right, let's wrap it up.
Oh,
Jessica's got all kinds of
You're gonna need to edit that out.
was that the Kraken?
No, I went to go hang up on him and played a sound effect.
All good.
All right, Jessica, so I have a question for you.
Yes.
This is a stupid question of the week.
You'd be surprised how many dumb questions I get every week. But
Okay,
shoot.
well, then I'll ask you a smart question. Would you prefer
Oh boy. Here we go.
It's going to be two things I would never want, so I
No,
have to choose one.
You have to.
You have to pick.
Everybody's got to
Okay.
answer it. It's not like I don't want to do it. Here you go, answer it. All right. Would you?
Kidney stone or
There we go. Just
Literally
Right.
anything else.
No, this is for all of us, so this is not a female thing. Would you rather have to run around this office naked for about 10 minutes? Or have a kidney stone for the next 4 hours?
I'll run around naked for sure. Kidney stones are horrific. I have them. They're really painful.
Okay, so you're going naked.
Yeah.
actually, I'm going to go for the kidney stone because I know Toradol is going to fix the problem. As soon as they give me Toradol, my life is good.
Oh, he just wants the drug.
I'm a drug requester. That's actually it. I actually know the drug
That's
by
drug
name.
seeking behavior, sir.
Yes, sir. I don't know if you could be here.
Shit.
All right.
I'm going to have to go back to Betty Ford again.
What's your answer?
Mine?
Yeah,
Naked.
you go naked.
Yeah, I'll go naked.
Is that like pre-body hair trimming or post
general.
like winter 6 months body hair?
No, you got to.
Can I prep for this?
You gotta- no, you gotta-
Do I
Go
look like
naked.
Bigfoot or do I look like,
you
you know?
got to walk out of this
Go
room as
naked.
is.
Oh, I'm good.
I'm gonna go with the kidney stone.
I'm either or. Flip a coin.
What if we let
My
you
wife
wear
would not approve, though.
your vest nipple outfit?
Would
Your
that-
Chinese
would-
2X.
Would that
Or-
look? Wouldn't that look
Korean or-
slightly even more ridiculous? Yeah, nobody wants to see this. I'll go to the hospital. I'll tell them to give me something.
Hey, I pay enough for my health insurance. There's going to be a sponge bath in there somewhere, right?
Yeah, something's got to happen.
Bathe me.
Speaking of which, watch that. I'm not promoting it, but I guess I kind of am personally. Watch Affliction
Afflicted.
on Afflicted.
Afflicted.
Afflicted on
Netflix.
Netflix. People who have different ailments that they may or may not have.
yeah.
You determine. All right, it was good time this week. Appreciate it, Kirk. As
Thanks
always.
for having me.
All right.
Always
Okay.
good to be back.
Have a good one.
Take care.